So I originally ran for the Green Party in 2010 when I was just 20 years old, and I was doing that just out of pure excitement to be part of the electoral process, just because I think politics is super important and really exciting in a weird geeky way. This time around, I'm running just out of frustration and kind of anger. I'm an educator, and with a 28-day campaign cycle, it kind of worked out that I was actually able to run again because as a government employee, I'm actually I have to take an unpaid leave. And this way I would only miss out on like kind of 2 weeks and 3 days with students. So I didn't think I was going to be able to run in this provincial election, but 28-day election cycle seems criminal to me, but it kind of worked out, whereas I can be a part of the process. And I just I loved sitting at the table and being part of the debates and bringing up social issues and having people directly answer to me. So yeah, that's kind of the main reason I'm running. I just want to be part of the conversation and bring up some important issues. Well, I am a lifelong St. Johner. I absolutely love this town. I grew up in Milledgeville, and I went to Saint de Champlain, and I also graduated from UMBSJ. So I know St. John Portland. I know this community. I am currently living just outside the riding because of gerrymandering and kind of switching the lines. So I am actually voting in St. John Harbor, but I very much care about the North End in Milledgeville. And one thing I love about the Green Party is you're not whipped in any way for any votes. And I am St. John first, always. Well, my mother was born in Edmundston, and I grew up in St. John, so I am a Francophone, and I kind of understand New Brunswick in terms of like the divide that's happening there, because I'm a Francophone in St. John, and that we're a small but mighty population here. I love this province. My sister, my father, a bunch of my friends, they all left the province the second they could. And I decided to stick around because I really believe in this place and I want other people to come back. I think there's an opportunity here, and I just want to help us move forward, because this archaic red party, blue party thing that we got going on is not serving the province very well. So one thing that kind of made me more interested in helping St. John was that during COVID, I helped Beamy Kids organize and run a mobile food bank. And while doing that, I really saw the systematic poverty that everybody knows is there. And it's a city underbelly of St. John that, people talk about, but I was knocking on people's doors and seeing, just the conditions that people are living in. So ever since I've done that, it kind of opened my eyes. So for 20 weeks, I was, helping people out, delivering food and building those relationships. And the thing is like, people in St. John are so lovely and want to succeed. It's not the case that everybody wants to just sit on Pogie and do nothing. It's like people want opportunities, and I want to help people find those. For my writing. Okay. Well, number one, the Green Party, I think everything needs to go back to environmentalism and having that in the back of our mind, but we can't really do that without concentrating on poverty issues. People aren't going to worry about recycling or buying local food. They're worried about getting food on the table for their kids. So systematic poverty is definitely number one. As an educator, I would say education reform and just kind of switching the way we do things, making it safer for students and teachers, reimagining the way a classroom can operate is very important to me. So that'd be number two. Bringing back a lot of social issues that the Higgs government has cut would be number three. I love St. John. I think it's beautiful. I'm currently sitting in Uptown St. John looking at the waterfront while we do this conversation. And I think tourism is so important. If you develop tourism, you can do so much more. It creates opportunities, creates jobs. And it's such a nice town. I want everybody to come and see this. And number 5, I would say just helping the people that need it most with mental health issues and addiction issues. It's not, let's create a task force to fight meth. People are still going to have those addiction issues. No one wants to be addicted to meth. We need to help those people instead of trying to prosecute the people distributing it. Yes, you got to prosecute them, but we need to help the people on the ground. I was recently at the rally in Rossay for Clinic 554, and the Higgs government is currently against the Canadian Health Act, and I think it's what they're doing is illegal. It's literally illegal. So I am very much in favor of everybody having the health care they deserve, and we can definitely start with Clinic 554. Yeah, that is a huge issue. I think people have addiction issues because of mental health, because of systematic poverty, and all these things that are all intertwined in an awful type of pretzel. And we need to fund that, because if you fund that for children at a young age, it saves money down the road. It seems so obvious that if you help those programs, you save money on incarceration, on all sorts of things. So it's just, if you fund mental health and addiction issues, you save so much down the road. If, the Higgs government wants to balance books, well, look at it for a 20-year plan. It's just obvious. Oh, ban it. There's other ways we can spray our crops that are not carcinogenic. So, use the best technologies we have. It's not that one. Let's be better. Well, it's pretty clear that gentrification is a big issue in St. John. Someone moved out an apartment and they renovated with a slap in a coat of paint, and all of a sudden that apartment's $500 more. There needs to be some regulations put in place to protect the renters, because St. John is being bought up by outside forces, and the market is going up at a crazy rate that is just costing the average St. Johner way too much money. We're sending people out of the uptown core. They're finding themselves in the lower North End and Crescent Valley and the parts of my riding, and the housing there is unsafe. And there's a lot of red tape around fixing these buildings. And we need to, anytime we have a new building, we need to have it, or everybody have, what's the word? We need to make sure that any new building is available for every walks of life. Well, I believe it is $26 million for a city of about 80,000 people or less. And that just seems absolutely ridiculous. I've never seen a department with such new vehicles consistently. I wouldn't use the term defund, but I think restructure would be a very important thing for the city of St. John to consider. Maybe it's, you have your paramedics, you have your firefighters, you have your police department, and you have the social team. You have people that go out when there's a mental health issue, not with guns drawn. We need to make it easier for people to do that anonymously, and not go back into the situation they were in. We need to help these women and children that are having a hard time with that, especially during COVID, where during lockdown, you don't have an opportunity. As a teacher, you don't have the opportunity to see kids and kind of monitor their health and stuff. And there needs to be more social programs in place to help these women that are experiencing difficulty. And, maybe that's not just a big room with all these families that are struggling together. Maybe it's putting them up in housing immediately and other opportunities. That is one of my biggest things that I believe St. John can if New Brunswick redefines that, St. John will thrive. I believe the facts are the regional hospital pays $4.5 million for its taxes every year, and the refinery, the biggest refinery in Canada, pays $2.6 million. That seems ridiculous. So we need to stop giving tax breaks to companies that are based in the Bahamas, and we need to tax them fairly so that we don't have to look at private businesses to support schools and pretend that it's like a big winning thing. Oh, wow, they do so much for the community. No, if they paid their taxes, then we would actually be in a much better place, and it wouldn't be the population supporting the businesses. It would, be the other way around. Well, Higgs walked away from the table because he didn't understand what was going on there. So he left somewhere between, $1.5 and $2.5 million for transit on the table from the Trudeau government. So everybody should have access to going where they need to go. New Brunswick's the only province that doesn't subsidize transit. And there's some people that have mobility issues. They can't afford a vehicle, what have you, that need to get around. And we need to give people the basic things they need to survive on. And transportation is one of those. Affordable childcare. I talk to people that have children, and it's a mortgage. It's a mortgage to have your child go to daycare. And when people finally get their kids in kindergarten, it's like winning the lottery because you start saving $800, $1,000 a month. It's absolutely crazy how much we need to spend for that. And, Ontario now has like a pre-K type situation. So I don't know if it's like it goes into public schools or it's just another department of that, but we need to make it more affordable to live here for the people that are struggling. And the living wage in St. John was just said to be $19.55. Minimum wage is $11.70. There's a huge gap there, especially when mortgage or rent rates are going up at an insane cost. Childcare is a very easy way to cut a huge expense for a lot of people. I have 2 degrees. I have a degree in education and a degree in communication. And I remember when we were learning about all this stuff, there was international books that we were using in class that used New Brunswick's media ownership as a terrible example for what that can look like. It's atrocious. It should not be that way. There's laws on monopolies, and there have never been enforced in New Brunswick. That blows my mind. Everything keeps getting bought up, from Here Magazine to Huddle to any little newspaper that Brunswick News thinks is an opportunity. And some of them are continued. Some of them are just dropped immediately because they don't like the content. There needs to be oversight into this, and we need to divide that and make it not all owned by one mega enterprise.